We're good.
Kia ora, Leone. So we've got Leone online.
Kia ora whanaunga.
Getting a little bit of feedback.
If I close that, it stops recording.
It should.
Just mute it. I don't know where to mute it.
It'll be up on the bottom.
Just mute it.
What about that? Actually, that needs everything.
But that's the volume of the speakers. Turn that down. It's just. Second,
I'm still watching.
you ask the way,
You asked Leonie?
why you can hear us.
Looks like she's frozen.
Frozen now, the whole thing's frozen.
Yeah. It'll be the first meeting of the year.
Kia ora, Leone. Can you hear us? Give us a thumbs up.
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
Yeah, we can't hear it because our sound is down.
Yeah, she can hear us. No problems with you.
She can hear us, probably,
Yeah.
because she can type a message to us.
Try this, see what happens.
Just put your hand up if you want to say something or do a thumbs up.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if that works.
Okay.
Up high. Got a violet.
It's not the breath.
Chocolate dress.
All right. Yeah, tīmatane. Right.
Sorry.
Okay, so this meeting is being recorded and is held in person and also online. The live streaming as well, so whitu, kia ora whitu, and we've got Leone online. Subject to the recording being of suitable quality, hopefully, we've nailed that. It will be made available on Council's YouTube via a link on Council's website. Okay, so have we got people that can manage the online microphones at that?
Can you do it from your keyboard, Robin?
No. No.
Yeah, I can.
I can be back in a second.
Okay,
You can just go.
cool, awesome. So we've done our karakia. Any extraordinary business, is there any to add to the agenda? No? Okay. Are there any apologies? We have apologies from CEO Janice Smith. And JD is overseas at the moment. Thank you, Fitu. I move the apologies from Fitu and Robin be received. Do I have a seconder?
From JD.
Pardon?
JD. JD.
Oh, he said it. From JD then, JD and Janice. Be received. Do I have a seconder? Okay, we'll go with Violet. Thank you, Violet. All those in favour, please raise your hand. All those against? Okay, Pai. All good. Motion is carried. Conflicts of interest. Are there any conflicts of interest to declare? Might be good to have a session around conflicts of interest and managing, well, understanding actually what conflicts of interests are. And then we might note that as an action for our forum. Acknowledgements and tributes. Does anyone have any acknowledgements or tributes they would like to make?
We actually get through Christmas without it.
No, we did have, there was a couple out at the coast. I just can't remember the name at the moment.
Well, we'll acknowledge all our whānau and I hope they had a good holiday break. So that's good that we're ready to start this new year in a good space anyway, for us. So we have 4 or 5 actually. We've got one coming online at the end. Public participation this evening. So Tim Smith from Martinborough Hotel. Yep. Yeah, no, up to you.
I'm Tim. My day job is running the accommodation at the hotel, and on the side we do some property development. We bought a piece of land at the end of Dublin Street, Shooting Butts Road, and I think everybody knows it as the Rapaki Walk. The signs around town already mentioned Rapaki. We're looking to do some development on it for lifestyle blocks, and I'd love to use the name Rapaki, but I want to check in and see that it's being used in the right context, whether there's any sensitivities. If there are, I'm happy to find something else. I would like, there's always a recognition of where it is. I just want to kind of ask the question, like, I guess consult and see whether that's something I could do or whether I shouldn't do.
We need to go through hikawera, don't we? Ngāti hikawera. Got the approval of that name. Yeah, Rapaki, that's my marae. So I don't know that.
My understanding of the history of the name, it was the farm used to be called Plains, and sometime in the last 30 years, the previous owner called it Rapaki, and that's the only history I have. I don't think it has any long. I don't know where it came from, whether it was asked for or when they called it the Rapaki Walk, but someone came and asked the question. No, Enaka Kershaw was involved in setting up a walk, but I think, I don't know the history. Three us.
Cool. So we're happy to engage with you outside of this meeting to point you in the right direction.
Yep.
And to really understand the whakapapa of where the land is and the naming and how you've come with that. You just said it's from a previous owner. So that will take a bit of research in that. But we're happy to help.
Okay, amazing.
If that's all right, Tim.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, like all asked us that question. I don't want to use something that has any sensitivities.
Yeah. So that's all cool. So I'll just get your contact details and we'll engage with that with you at a later date.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Awesome, thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
Yes. Rapaki.
Who knows anything about that?
Rapaki.
Charlotte, is Charlotte here?
No, in Charlotte.
Well,
She must be running late.
yeah, well, she's from Dark Sky Reserve, so we'll see if she comes in. Greg. Thanks, Greg. Kia ora.
Ko te mata te maunga, ko Tuki te awa, no Havelock North te whenua tapu, kei whangarei au e noho ana, ko Greg hei takuinga. Kia ora. So I'm here today later than I would have liked to have been, and I guess really to apologise to you for not having come sooner. I am with a company called Final Solar Farm. Some of you are no doubt aware of the plans that we have in a submission that we've put forward to construct a solar farm in Greytown or near Greytown. I have some information here for some of you who might like some more details. If I could pass them around, I'm not sure if I've got enough copies for everyone. Really, the real reason, I guess, why we're here is because of a failure on our part, really, to not get the correct lay of the land and understand who we needed to talk to as far as mana whenua goes. We have engaged, or we did engage, or we're engaging, and I hope I can say are still engaging with Kahangunaki Wairarapa and at the GM level with Ty Gemmell. We met with Ty at the HQ there in Masterton about this time last year, actually. And went to him well before, obviously, we'd submitted the resource consent and things and introduced ourselves. and wanted to mihi and, meet kanohi and have a kōrero about what our kaupapa was with the solar farm. And we had a good ongoing relationship, excuse me. And it wasn't until the process evolved and we'd submitted the resource consent and I talked to Ty and he expressed, council wanted to have evidence of our engagement with iwi and mana whenua. And so of course I had a kōrero with Ty and explained the situation. And he then explained to me, he apologised and said, look, the landscape's changed, you need to have more kōrero with the wider hapu group. And that's, I guess, tika. I feel a little bit silly that I probably should have recognised this right at the start. I think, I put my hand up and apologised for that. I guess I think I assumed that we were talking at an iwi level with Kapungunu, but I thought everything was okay in that regard. Yes, it's you're completely right, and so I apologise. We are, I believe, meeting with Rangatane tomorrow, with Horipo and Paikea as well, and I think one other colleague. So
Be Amber.
yes, that's right. Yeah, Amber. So yes, look, I guess I'm here really with with my hand extended to apologise for not having followed the correct procedures, and I really do apologise for that, and I certainly didn't intend any offence. So please accept our apologies for that. So in light of that explanation, is there anything that specifically you would like me to kōrero about or explain or answer any questions? Again, I wish that we'd been here sooner.
Are you in contact with the marae?
I've tried.
The mana whenua?
Yeah, I've tried really hard to contact Papawai Marae, which yes. Hilda.
Hilda,
How are you?
have you had any contact with Hiruini Munson?
I've tried really hard. Yeah, I got his after Ty shared a number for Papawai Marae, and after looking at it, it's just the number on the website, and just goes through to an answer phone.
I can help you out with that.
Yeah,
I have a question. It's just, has there been any consideration given to what this will do to the whenua? Like what
respect.
Solar power and all of that, it's got to have some effects that it's going to put back to the land. Is there any effects? I don't actually know. Can you explain?
Effects on the whenua.
The use of that land while the solar panels are there.
Yeah, well, it's currently used as partial farming, so it's just farmed and cropped at the moment. So the panels, when they actually go on, are pretty benign in terms of the impact on the whenua. It's probably similar to constructing a vineyard in terms of piles being driven into the ground. They'll be galvanised steel piles, not wooden ones covered in zinc and arsenic. And they can be taken out at any stage if the facility is decommissioned. So there's minimal earthworks to prepare the site. So we're not touching any waterways or watercourses. And the water just runs onto the whenua as it currently does.
Yeah, Martin?
Yes, thank you, Chair. So we end up with a lot of solar panels, and as far as I'm concerned, that's a good thing. I've got them on my house. My recollection is they last maybe 25 to 30 years. You've got a lot more than I've got. What do you do to make sure that they are dealt with in a safe way at that point?
Yeah, disposal and stuff like that.
Yeah, look, it's an evolving technology, recycling of solar panels. Solar panels can actually be what we call repowered, which is basically refurbished after that time, which would give them another effective life of another 20 years. So you're really looking at about 50 years before those panels are probably at end of life. Recycling facilities do exist globally. They don't exist in New Zealand at a large scale, but solar is coming to New Zealand, and as an industry, we expect that the latent industry of recycling will catch up as well. So the short answer is they'll be recycled. Like I said, we don't have the facilities in New Zealand to do that yet, but any solar panels that we put in the grounds here won't need to be recycled for at least, 40, 50 years.
You go Pat first.
I'm just wondering with regards to this, my understanding is that the power itself doesn't stay within our region. So when we talk about benefits and, you know, long-term benefits and things, what do you propose? Like, for example, if you're talking about something that's lasting, you know, 40 to 50 years, is there a way where students are able to actually come on and learn about it and be a part of this, you know, to be able to be looking after it and be involved and have that knowledge and be able to pass that on and things like that. So what benefits do you see for our district when the power itself isn't actually staying here? It's not going to benefit us, this power.
Well, I guess power and having access to power is a common good shared by all of us in the country as a community. And if you think about where your power comes from now, most of it's coming from the South Island. And the reality is that as the country electrifies and as we encourage the country to switch off the last remaining 10 to 15% of its generation, which is burning fossil fuels, we're going to need more power. The country's growing, and if we don't invest in the kind of infrastructure that we need now, then come winter, some of the reality is, and I'll forgive me if it sounds crass, but the less fortunate of our society will be the ones that suffer because the price of power will be out of reach and they'll go cold. So, you know, the reality is we do need more generation. All governments have clearly signalled that, and that's why you're seeing solar now becoming an industry within New Zealand and wind as well. We don't seem to have the ability to consent new hydro. It's very expensive and it's just not really happening. And in terms of local benefit, we're really hoping that we can, should we be lucky enough and be given the trust and responsibility to develop in this rohe, we hope that we'll be able to partner more closely with people like yourselves and the wider community too, and see how we can bring some extra benefit, some extra tangible benefit to the communities. There will certainly be a lot of jobs coming to the region associated with the construction and the ongoing maintenance and operation of the facility. Although once it's built, it is fairly benign. It just sits there quietly, and you know it'll be screened entirely with trees, and you know within a couple of years you won't even know it's there.
Who's the grazer? Who looks after this?
The landowner.
Oh, yeah.
Current landowner. So his intention is to continue to graze sheep as he currently does. He expects that he'll be able to maintain production at least about 80% of what he currently does. The rows are spaced 6 metres apart, so just looking at this room, it's probably wider than this room between the spaces of the panels. So it's not wall-to-wall solar panels at all. I think panels were really only covering about 28% of the site, and they will tilt from east to west. So there's never one area that's completely in shade, and I think we can see that how hard the land does suffer sometimes when it gets dry, and the idea with this agrivoltaics sort of kaupapa is that you can provide some shading to some areas of the grass, and with planting the right kind of species, you can actually have a really beneficial impact on the whenua in that respect as well. So, yeah, in short answer, we want to partner and with people like yourselves, and we're doing that through other agreements that we have with other iwi in other areas of the motu where we're developing as well. So again, hoping that we can develop those partnerships.
Okay.
Brenda? Sorry, the map is so small, I can't even work out where this is. I know you're saying outside of Greytown, but where?
Sorry, apologies then. Motoro Road. And
Road, that's so Whaniko, that end, or?
it's 415. I'm not sure about Te Whaniko. Where the substation is.
Wolves crossing.
Yeah, so
Right next to from Martinborough to Greytown, this side.
Oh, yeah, that substation, so Mordor, okay, up there. Okay, last year we had someone coming in.
Yes, different power company.
Yes, but
It's going to Kempton's, right?
yeah, there's a different developer who has desires, I think, to build something further up past where we are.
2 big farms within a small vicinity. Really?
And none of that power is gonna benefit the Wairarapa at all.
Wait, but love, but when they came and it was put to them about what they could do, would they look at something, you know, for our future generations?
Yeah.
They're quite open to it.
Social.
Yeah.
About looking at being able to.
They had considerations to think about because they were so close to Kuranui College and et cetera.
Yeah.
But
So
they didn't go any further. What happened to them?
yeah,
I'm afraid you'd have to ask them. I'm
Yes,
privy to.
Hey, we've got another proposal. This, and what hectare size are you talking about here?
235.
235 hectares, that's.
Yeah. So that's the landowners.
Yes, that's right.
But we're not losing any grazing potential, only about 28%, did you say?
20.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm fine about no more, you know, less grazing, less
Yeah.
cows on the land,
Grass.
you know, great. But that's,
That's that.
well, I suppose that's kind of like, I mean, I'm just thinking about aesthetically, what does that look like on the whenua? Horrendous, but it is on that backside out to Battersea.
And they were gonna plant around it?
yeah, that's right. It's gonna be planted. We're gonna streaming perimeter planting. Well, at the moment, we've,
just also still considering the whenua and what happens
Yeah.
with pine.
we're certainly open, we're open to those kind of opinions and working with you. I guess we need to understand whether or not natives will be able to propagate effectively and obviously they grow slower, so there's considerations.
Yeah, before the grass is there.
Screen as well, but yeah, we can coordinate all about that for sure.
No, they don't necessarily grow slower.
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
they can't slow down, it's very slow.
So I mean, ultimately, you know, the solar farm, if, you know, within 3 to 4 years, you won't be able to see it from virtually any viewpoint, in, you know, around the area. And we believe that kind of screening is consistent with the kind of shelter belts and things which you see in the area right now.
There was Far North Solar. Are you guys from Northland? No, you're from.
Yeah, it's funny. The first solar farm we developed is in the far north in a place
Okay.
called Whakanu.
So there's one up there. So you've got an example up there.
We're building it at the moment. We're just about to start construction. But the name is stuck. So we started with one solar farm and we've been able to expand and find other sites and gain other resource consents and work with other partners. And we now have a portfolio of around 11 solar farms we're looking to develop around the country.
Where are you at in the process? Yeah.
For Greater. The application is going to be heard by the Environment Court. And we believe they're yet to set a date, but we believe that's in May. We're hoping that will be in May. So the Environment Court will hear evidence from all submitters and expert witnesses and I guess assess the application on its merits and make a decision. So yeah, we're sort of obviously waiting to see what comes of that. But regardless, I mean, the fact that I'm here today is a testament to the fact that we believe that we have a duty and we have a genuine desire to want to engage properly and be good neighbours in the community. And the reality is that we've got our court date, submissions are closed. We probably don't have to do anything if we don't want to, but I was personally quite upset and disappointed with myself that I hadn't become aware that we should have expanded this corridor more. And then when Ty told me, I got straight on the phone and straight to emails, and I have had text messages with Hedawini, and I called and emailed. He just hasn't managed to get back to me, unfortunately. I guess he's really busy. So, but as I've said, we're going to go and meet with Rangatane tomorrow and have a corridor with them and introduce ourselves and hope that as we advance, if we are able to gain consent and develop a solar farm, which we believe is a good thing for New Zealand. Then we're hoping to really build on those relationships and make them meaningful and worthwhile.
Oh, well, thank you, Greg, for tidying up your process and coming to court with us tonight. So
Just got one other part, right? 1,000+ jobs, what's the scope of those jobs? Like, what do they range from, engineers through to?
Yeah, gosh, everything you can imagine to labouring, to planting, to pest control, civil engineering, electrical.
So you're gonna look at locals for?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that number reference there is for the entire portfolio.
Yeah.
It's not just for Greytown, but we've got MOUs with other iwi about doing apprenticeships and electrical, you know, these are things that we can explore, yeah.
Sorry, just quickly, we've talked about, you know, the community, the jobs and things like that. What about pūtea money? Will any of this money come back to the community?
We're a private business, just like any other private business. So we're having to invest money to build the facility. We have a strong desire to be able to provide community good where we can. But the short answer is we have investors who are backing this and they're doing it for a financial return. The government has clearly signalled that we need to develop this kind of infrastructure to keep the lights on in the country. So we think what we're doing is a good thing for the wider environment and the community.
Sorry, last question, other than I'll after you, Karen.
I have a question as well.
Once, so in May, when the Environment Court hearing comes through and you get it, does that mean that you'll be able to possibly start on the plantings at that point?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's bad.
So we have a couple of community-based
Make some partners.
So would we be able to contact you?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, please.
That way, you know it, Rosie.
Yeah, I mean,
Because,
That way you'll know.
because we grow plants that come from here, so we know.
yeah, that's,
Yeah.
that makes perfect sense.
Both ecosystems.
Yeah, cool.
Good,
Oh,
I go in there.
yeah,
Online,
Yeah, kia ora, Greg, and nice to meet you. It's great that you managed to come along and meet with us. A couple of questions that I have is, you say you've got some agreements in place or MOUs in place with other iwi. Are they confidential? Are we able to see what they look like so that we might be able to come to the similar conclusions? And regarding the employment factor, once they're up and running, what sort of numbers would there be? Local opportunity for local people to be engaged there? How many people will you need to look after this place?
Kia ora koutou. I'd have to have put it all with those other partners and of ours and ask if they were happy to share that kind of thing. I have in the past connected other iwi groups together in hapu groups to have put it all seeking, you know, to sort of reassure each other and understand who we are and share opinions, I suppose. So I'll have to get back to you on that. And with regards to the jobs, I think you asked, would they be local? Yeah.
Yeah, and regarding once it's up and running, obviously
Yes,
you'll
that's
have
right.
a construction crew that'll come into town, wouldn't you?
Yeah, ongoing. Yeah, well, there'll be a few. We expect there'll probably be a few full-time equivalent jobs. I'm not exactly sure what they'll entail. Some of them, as you can appreciate, is a pretty high-tech facility, or it can be, so there will need to be qualified electrical roles. But there's certainly things like we'll be doing ongoing pest control and maintenance and things like that. So there is opportunity, I think, for us to collaborate and see what we can come up with. I mean, I personally, we have partners who have a holistic approach to how they approach these things, and from a risk point of view, they have to be covered. We have to be covered from insurance. So people who do provide services have to be obviously suitably qualified. But one of the roles that I like to think I perform is I'm a pretty strong advocate for trying to partner up with locals and hold our company to our word. So I look forward to, if we get the chance, trying to expand on that.
Oh, that's understandable. What about the who's all your investors in your company?
Our main partner is a
German clean energy renewable investor. They're a German company and they invest in renewable energy around the world. They build solar farms and wind farms all over the show.
And radiata farms
What's that?
and pine.
Yeah, they've got some dairy as well. They've got the first actual, they've got the only, how would you call it? It's an ecological dairy farm down in the South Island, and I don't know too much about it, but it's run that way. So.
So what's
The
their
one where
name?
they built their own dam and everything. I think I've actually seen
No, they haven't built it.
they've got.
inside.
So in interest of time,
Yes.
this is, could.
Just one more question,
Go on.
Andrea, just in regarding the investors, what's the name of the company?
Yeah, I want that name.
Sorry? Oh, just
Nah.
pass it on to somebody, I can't hear you.
Okay, sweet.
UILA.
It's on this floor.
It's on the.
Oh, yeah, oh, great.
Okay.
Save me a copy.
Okay.
Kia ora.
And just the final thing, what's you're a director or
No.
position?
No, I am, I look after communications and engagement.
Oh.
I'm the comms lead.
Honestly. Kia ora, thanks.
Matilda, thanks so much for your
Kia ora,
time.
yeah.
Really appreciated the opportunity to speak with you.
Yeah.
You can come next.
Right. Claretianas? Both come forward.
Good, everybody.
Kia ora.
Here again. I'm Lizzie Carpenter Claretiana, raised here in this town. We lived here, and my husband and I moved here in 2010 to Munster. So we've just come because we've already had a meeting with you and we talked about Annie McGregor's Korowai. We were just wanting to know when can we proceed with all this and how we're going to do it. And
Yeah, so we need to, the mayor and I are meeting on Friday.
sorry.
And we were going to talk about that as well. But have you got some ideas?
Well,
Do you have a time and date for that?
Yeah.
I was wondering, we're working with yous, when does it suit yous? And we're working with yous. The idea of the Korowai is that I'm going to, it was being made by my sister, and we're going to give it to the family, Papalangi's family, and they'll present it to council.
Yeah, beautiful.
Is that
For it to be
Beautiful.
used for special occasions.
this wishes that he had from down here, because he's here, Ngāti Hikura. And when we were coming down here, and I forget who the mayor was, then it was yeah, so he said to me and my husband, he says, I would like to get a korowai for the council. And because everything sort of went like that because of COVID and everything like that. But we had the korowai, we've had it for quite a while, and it's something that I believe that we want to do to, what do you call it? This is something that he wanted to do, and we just want to follow through.
Complete it.
So that's what we're.
In the past, because Violet, you might want to talk to this around this space.
Oh, yeah.
Ngāti Hikawera.
Yeah, so this space here, this room is gifted to Ngāti Hikawera through the work mahi that Uncle Langi did down here with them. So because they didn't have a marae, this is open for them to use anytime they want. This
That
room,
was
this space, this wahine space.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
so,
did tell us,
Yeah.
he did tell us, because we
Out of his mahi.
coming down here, doing just services here, fortnightly, something, he wanted it, and he did tell me something, but I did not quite understand what he was saying, because he wanted to come in here.
Yeah,
It was.
Telling us.
yeah, and how we've used it in the past with our poi out
Yeah.
there, so.
yeah, so we use it quite often for our whānau things.
Beautiful. That is so beautiful. I didn't realise that, no. He'd love that. So this is one of his wishes that he was.
His final wish was this korowai.
Yeah. The korowai.
So we need to come up with a time and a day that it can be.
You should just come up
Mhm.
with when it suits you, time of date, we'll work in with you and how it's going to be done and however.
Yeah.
But I'm going to give the korowai to his family and make him.
Present.
Present.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll work up a draft program, and pass that by our kaumātua as well. And you get the final say on, you know, what we, draft up.
Yeah.
And then we'll just make it happen.
Yeah. So when you want to make it happen, we'll, you know, we're going to be
And
there.
that'll be sooner rather than later.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yes, that'll be great.
so we can get him in the house,
Yeah.
back in his house.
And we did say, last meeting that we did say, we were going to call it Ngāti Hikuera.
Yeah.
It'll just so be beautiful. And
Lovely. Well, because that was his dream, to have Ngāti Hikuera back on the whenua.
Yeah.
So that korowai is his way of bringing them back.
The two.
Yeah, kia ora korua. Nice to see you again. Just in regarding when it's been gifted to the council, where do we think that's going to sit? To be able to, you know, capture
Well-
the essence of what the gift is. I guess that's more for the
To be
council.
here in a case.
It would need to be in a
Well,
case.
Leah's
Yeah.
just said that it'll be held here in this study.
I thought you meant we.
Oh.
Oh,
No, but where is it going
Yes,
to live?
House.
How will it be? Yeah, how?
Where it will be
where will it
housed.
live? And it needs.
Martin?
It'll need-
Martin will have an idea.
Well, I think the obvious place is some suitable place in this building. And as you say, suitably cased and protected so that it can be well seen. And I think we'd probably also like some
Yeah.
direction on the occasions where we can actually use it.
Yes, yes.
It's here to be used.
Mhm.
He's giving it over to be used, because he did say to us that he said it'd be good for them to have it, because when they have people, they want to.
Special occasions.
Yeah.
Special occasions.
But we have the new citizens.
So that's.
Yeah.
That's perfect. For it to be worn then.
Yeah. We could have used it, for the, when we were putting to council about a Māori ward.
Māori wards, that's when we could have worn it then, but
Yeah.
we were wearing our own.
We could wear it, use it for,
Use it,
Yeah, use it for those,
use it for those things, because he did say.
when you have to go to the marae and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's for, it's for,
Yeah,
it's,
so Ngāti
it's-
Hikuera is there.
yeah, that's for them, yeah, right, so,
I would just like to see it used, because he did mention.
Yeah.
that we
Yeah,
need
absolutely.
citizens to
yes.
Do that. use it.
Karen.
Kia
What
ora,
kind of
Nor.
conditions,
Wait
Kia
on,
ora,
Karen.
No, sorry, Fitu, just got Karen.
Hey, hey,
Karen.
bro.
what kind of conditions is required for storage? So,
Oh, it's feathers, auntie? Did you do muka or cotton?
No, I mean, it's done in feathers, but usually when she does them, I'll ask her, my sister,
Yeah.
she usually sprays them so it can
Yeah.
be.
Preserved.
Yes, so that,
plenty of air circulating.
it's just the silverfish
I'll ask her,
feathers,
I'll ask her.
Yeah.
but it can be in a nice basket.
What it's like.
Hmm.
What, if she did, I'll ask Louise if she did, yeah.
Pitu.
You take it away, you have it with mothballs.
Yeah, and just if we were going to display it inside Waihinga there, we need some more context around, I guess, Ngāti Hikuera and what that's about, and what you've expressed earlier, Violet, just in regarding the opportunity for Ngāti Hikuera to utilise.
Kōrero.
Yeah, I think we need to have that context displayed around that as well. Kia ora.
So the whakapapa of it, so that people know what it's about, is important.
So we can,
Some of yous know here what's
Mhm.
that here, no, that'd be.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Beautiful.
he did
Yeah.
say, tell us quite a few of us what he wanted.
So, yeah, I know.
Very much.
Ka pai.
Amy,
Church to be.
Got it.
thank you, nice to meet you, sorry.
And-
Yeah.
Thank you.
Lovely to meet you all.
Thank you.
So you just give us whenever, however.
Yep.
We'll work something out together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
can be used for the next.
I mean, you can wear your blazer, then you can wear your blazer.
Yeah,
For the next citizen things that could be used then.
yeah, when is the next citizen?
Is our next citizen thing?
I don't believe it's been actually decided yet. What tends to happen is we get told by the Department of Internal Affairs when new people are ready, and we think of round about 15 is the right number, and so then we schedule it.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, so if we can have this done,
That would be brilliant.
then it can be,
Lovely.
Perfect.
yeah. Well, we'll get in now, eh?
yeah.
Now, no Charlotte still,
I'm telling Jeannie to log in now, so she might pop up in a second.
so we'll go to Roisin Cooper and Narita, can you tell us Roisin's backstory of our newbie?
So last year, probably maybe February last year. No, it was a little bit later than that. Roisin is my daughter and is attending Te Wānaka and studying Te Reo Māori. And made an application to the Māori Standing Committee for $500 to help her with her, well, at that time she needed a new laptop. And so that went towards that. And I've just insisted that she jump online and say thank you because she had a great learning year and a great year of making these beautiful friendships with Wahine Mā, you know, just beautiful. So I've just, she's got, I'm trying. She says she's trying to log in now.
That's good.
Yeah, so I just wanted you to mind just say thank you to the Māori Standing Committee for supporting her and upping her, and that she can tell you.
Yeah, she'll give us the highlights.
Yeah. She was trying to put together a little montage of some images to show her school year, because there was over 150 students.
Wow,
Year
that's great.
one in your first year, and then year twos and threes after that. But they did, everything's done, you're into cohorts or ohu, and so you're a mix of year 1, 2, and 3 in each ohu, and you do a lot of collective whakapapa and kapa haka and all that sort of thing.
Right.
Wānanga, her reo, what we noticed, her reo went from here to here in this year.
Wow.
Participants, so maybe she's waiting to something there.
There.
Admit, please.
There you go.
Well, that did nothing.
What?
Did you?
Is the video on?
Yeah, more.
Oh.
Video.
No.
Roisin, you want to?
It's not on.
Yeah, video's not on.
Needs to do.
Oh, here she.
Oh, come on,
Yeah.
come on.
You're coming. Oh, here we are.
Donna.
Got it, Roisin.
Sorry, that was such a mission.
Put it on my.
So, do you guys want me to just talk about how my year was at course? Or?
Yep. Right.
It was so good. I'm doing another year this year, and I think I'm gonna do the 3 years. I feel like I learned so much and met so many cool people and like so many cool experiences, and I just like learned that I really love to be in the space of like te ao Māori and in a full immersion environment where you have not really any choice but to speak it and pick up everything.
Awesome.
Have you got a highlight for us?
A highlight.
Like, what was it like when you first started to when you finished the year?
Oh, it was really scary when I first started, but at the start I was actually excited for it to go to full immersion because the first 2 weeks are bilingual, and then it went into full immersion, and I was like waiting for that. But and then by the end of the year, it was like you definitely gain more confidence. I feel like with speaking in front of people and actually using the deal and stuff. Because at the start, I was just kia ora, kia ora. But but yeah, and a highlight, probably all of the friends I've made and stuff, but also the we did like noho over Masariki, and we learned a lot about that. Oh, actually, one of my highlights is one of the assignments we had to do was you have to hunt and gather kai somewhere and do it with a Te Ao Māori perspective. And I was lucky enough because my dad took me and my friends out for a dive, and we all, like, I think there was 4 of us, we all went out for a dive, and that was part of our assignment. We just had to make a movie about it and then write an interview with my dad and then translate it into Te Reo. And so that was one of my favorite ones because yeah, it was cool doing it with dad. And mum came out too.
Funny of the replay.
Then mum was supporting from the rocks watching that. But yeah, that was one of my favorite ones, I reckon.
What are you looking forward to this year?
I'm looking forward to getting back into the full immersion. You like miss it when you're away from it, but yeah, looking forward to that and seeing my friends. Not looking forward to the assignment.
That's so awesome.
Anyone else want to say something?
Just wish you luck, babe, for the next 2 years.
Yeah, all the best.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. You might inspire mum to use a bit more real.
Inspire us all.
Inspiring us all, darling.
Well, thank you.
Te mihi nui kia koe, kia kaha.
Okay.
Te kai o te rangatira, te kōrero. Kia ora, Roshane.
Ka kite.
Ka kite.
Ka kite.
Kia ora.
Oh gosh.
For some inspiration for all of us.
Yes.
Actions for public participation. Are there any actions from the public participation?
Well, I guess we're going to make a decision on Mrs. Karai and his gift. We'll probably do that this week.
Yeah.
I think. And are we going to work with Tim Smith just to try and clarify?
With regards to that, with the, you know, having, so they, when they purchased it, the name Rāpaki was already there, which makes me think that council must have something from when it was given that name. So there must.
In the records.
Council.
Did they just name it?
Yeah, no, but the same way that you always have to go through to have any name for any road or anything.
Is
So at
the name of a road, or is it just the name of a?
it's the name of so that's where the Rāpaki Walk, so there's a sign that says Rāpaki Walk up Dublin Street, and when you go up to the end of Shooting Butts, that's where the Rāpaki, that's where they've bought. So that's the land that they've bought that they're wanting to look at. Yeah.
I thought you said the corner of Dublin and Shooting Butts. I thought you meant that intersection.
Yeah, no, so it's up on that,
Okay.
where the Rāpaki Walk is, and that's because it's on that farm, which is called Rāpaki.
Have a look.
And so, yeah, if that's possible, if the officers could maybe just have a look to see when that went through and what was the reasoning behind it, because you always have to write why you're wanting to give it that name, so that might give us a little bit more clarity.
That translates to?
On
Rāpaki is the band that the chief was wearing.
Oh,
It's actually a settlement down south, out of Christchurch, outside of Littleton and Governor's Bay.
Yeah,
Rapaki. We're from Rapaki,
that's cool.
Yeah.
yeah.
but that's weird. So that's the land that he's talking about that they purchased and that they're looking to build on. And I know that, it's one of the few that has a Māori name as well. So it would be really good to actually find out who they bought it from, because that may have been part of the thing that they were told that because of the name came down, that may have been why it was given that
Oh, well,
as a,
you,
as an-
that action, we've got that action, so there'll be, and if it can come back to here.
might not have been, but.
What about any follow-up with, these guys, Far North Solar?
I guess I'll flick him Hirawini's number, like I said I would. I'll get him Hirawini's number, I'll get his details and I'll flick him Hirawini's number.
He answered the question anyway.
And I'll put it all up as more about it.
Okay, Tarina's gonna, follow up with Papua and make that
I
a
know.
bit stronger.
Whose land is that? But who's the farmer that's?
I'm not sure.
Most? They're leasing that, eh?
But I mean,
Yeah, like
the 1,000+ jobs and the fact that it said that that's for all of the different areas. That's cool. That's even better for our, rangatahi who, if they go through and get this apprenticeship, it means that they can carry on and go right round.
That they do that, though.
No, he didn't. And that's what I was trying to get, lock him in.
Well, we won't get into the details of that, but we're leaving that with Papua
Aye, yeah.
to engage where it belongs.
Where are we at with the other crowd that came in last?
Well, we don't have to worry
They
because
haven't even.
They never came back, but look,
I thought that was.
Leanne, did you have some?
No, from Tangitani ahead.
The names, hearing people with Inua Māori, because in our history, they have a place.
Yes, but
Ngāti to us always means Waipona.
yeah.
So you bring it down, it's a little bit like it's appropriating.
yes, like Puhunui can use it because that's kapa to Rapaki.
Yeah.
So that's just one thing to be mindful of. The other one is when you have foreign investors buying land for a purpose, how do you maintain they keep that purpose?
Yeah.
Yes, because they haven't done it.
They haven't bought it.
Not buying the land.
At least in it.
From the farmer, there's a farmer that owns
That owns it, so it's already someone else's.
But there's other
It's
people that live
industry.
around that. They've been to these owners.
Martin?
I do think Kuanui and Paeramulkai possibly ought to think in terms of very big sales. I mean, you're going to need a lot of,
Get in there.
yeah.
We can handle it.
They're going to do it from the moment they start.
Yes.
It could be first in staff, couldn't it?
And it does into the environmental.
It won't be ploughing and growing grass.
It's not have any impact on the environment. That's where it gets.
That's where it gets, yeah.
Okay, so we've got our actions. On to item number 7, Māori Standing Committee minutes. Now we're looking at, we've got 2 lots of minutes. We've got the 10th of October. Are there any corrections needed to be made for the 10th of October? Page, the printed copies, that's page 4. Is our name spelt right? In here?
Only's got her hand up.
Yes, Leonie,
That's it on the ceiling.
put it on my,
Did you want to say something, Lan?
Sorry, but
Oh, yes. Sorry, I meant nothing. Sweetie,
had to pipe.
they spelt your name right anyway.
All right, page 6. 7. And then 8. So can I, do I have a mover that the minutes of the Māori Standing Committee meeting held on the 18th? Is it the 18th?
you'll do the.
This is the 10th of October.
Yeah.
10th of October. Can I, true and correct?
Right.
All right, the mover was that, who was that? Pip, your turn this time, and the seconder? Yep, Tarina, thank you. All those in favour? All right.
Right.
All those against, raise your hand. Motion is carried. Can I now go on to, are there any corrections for the 7th of November? On page 9.
I'm on the wrong one.
10. The time is, Leonie's having to go to Mahi now.
Yep.
Thank you for the sign it that way. Yes.
Ka pai.
Love you too. See ya.
Page 11. Can I have someone, a mover for the minutes of the 7th of November, Narita? Kia ora. And a seconder? I didn't see. Dottie, Narita and Dottie for that. All those in favour, please raise your hand. All those against, please raise your hand. Motion is carried. Ka pai. We're going on to chairperson's report. Well, there's no report since our last meeting in November till now. So we'll move on to our reports from our chief executive and staff and
Māori report?
Yep. And the 9.1 is Ho Māori April 2023 report. Leanne, do you want to come and talk to it?
Yes, it's a bit, sorry, it's a, but there's some really major recommendations on there, obviously. Yeah, so they can see me. One being the draft Māori policy, which you've got on your agenda, to make a recommendation on that, council. The other one, I think, you've got in hand anyway, we're going to meet with the mayor on Friday, about the TUI applicant. We still have the Waihinga Bridge name to be corrected. I'm still chasing the
Nice.
time.
Tuangaroa.
The sign up at Mātakitaki. But there's still a need to look at, still a desire to close that road.
Yeah.
To an iwi. And then there's Post Leach's discussion paper. It is a discussion paper. I think it's a long-term kaupapa around Huangarua. He feels it's very important, and
Yes. It is.
May I just ask, the way that it's spelt here, the reason it had the macron is because they thought it was 2, but there shouldn't be a macron.
But he's got it spelled 2 different ways.
So he's got hua,
And then a macron.
angaroa, yeah, hua, angaroa, and no macron on any of his.
It's been missed.
I've gone through his report and I couldn't see a macron when it's the 2 words. And then, but when it's put together like that, it's like, it's like a macron.
Double A.
So I just think it should, we need to make sure there's no macron.
It would have a macron.
Yeah.
So.
And the double A is replacement for the macron because normally.
Replacement for the macron, yeah. So it would be a replacement for the macron, whereas it's still got a macron in the report. So I just wanted to make sure that.
But the correct spelling he says hua,
Arua.
So there should be a macron on the A.
Yeah, it should be a space in between the A and the N. But
But he hasn't got in the report, he's
And it's-
using a hyphen.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a hyphen and then no,
It's being a hyphen.
so,
so yeah, that hyphen.
Hua, and then will give you that hyphen, which is your macron, ngarua. Yeah. Hua, ngarua. Oh, no, you might.
no, he's
No,
not.
the macron should be on the A on the hua,
Yeah, that space shouldn't be there.
the first day, because you want to space.
Yeah.
Hua,
I just,
we might need a linguistic for this.
maybe could we
Arua,
clarify that
so
with FOS? Just,
Can't do it that way though.
but could we clarify that with FOS, because in everything like that, all the reporting, there is no macron, because he's using the hua angarua. So I don't, I'd hate for us to have one and then actually
Tuangaroa
the
pa.
whole point is that there shouldn't be one, because it's actually 2 separate.
Need to clarify.
It's one word.
Not in,
Should be.
I will just clarify that, go back to the right.
Yeah, I think so.
yeah, exactly.
Just probably how he's typed.
Just so we can make sure it's.
Because it's a real Māori, tarikau he hyphen.
Oh,
So we
Yeah.
Work out how it.
So they use
Yeah.
double letters
We need
instead
to.
of the hyphen.
it might
Yeah,
be-
yeah, if it's meant to be, in fact, almost three A's, or if it's actually.
leave it to the expert.
Yeah.
You want me to go back?
Yeah.
Is it all right?
Clarify, Leanne, go.
Okay, where do we get to?
So the naming,
So that there,
Yeah.
right? Tua, Ngaroa.
so we've got the representation.
Angarua. So, and then I think there's the mahi with Nigel around the emergency planning. I know,
Oh, yeah.
Hawariki have done
Um,
and.
yeah, we've done one thing.
Whanui and Papawai are still wanting to look at that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so, just get in.
You
touch with
represent
Nigel.
us?
You can do it through me or Amanda.
Yeah, so that's important around debris, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it's.
So dumping.
Absolutely. Debris.
Yeah, the.
This is the emergency management plan.
As well, but
I
that,
think we've already done our emergency management plan with Nigel
We have,
at Kohunui.
we haven't completed it, but it needs
it.
it done. It's done, so yeah.
Yeah, babe,
can we get them back again?
because of that creek.
Because I think that's a big, important kaupapa.
Yeah, and so is the debris management.
Yes.
Because it looks like there's a lot of sites, in South Wales, and there's very few. Yes.
I think we asked also for the whole Wellington.
Yeah.
Because the likelihood is Wellington will have all the rubbish and they'll bring it over here.
Yeah,
That's the reality.
and like it's north down to south,
So we really wanna
You know,
jump on that kaupapa.
make sure,
because how they'll truck it,
Yeah.
we truck out the
yeah.
funeral, so of course they truck.
Yeah, it'll be just like.
Go home where they can
Yeah.
do it better.
Okay, well, we'll get on to the,
So that's Nigel again.
yes.
That's,
Yeah.
Dear old Nigel.
Okay, so that was the recommendation.
Road
You
closure.
don't want me to read through it, but the road closure set up last night doing some more research and there's a few acts. One, that council can close, the local government act, I can't remember what section right now. And another one under the limbs, but there's a lot of requirements that go with that and it's stepping it out. So I'm going to do a bit more work on that with Karen in Blayton and see where we get to.
Oh, kapai.
A bit of a
Yeah.
paper together for use, but it's most likely something that that mana whenua push and apply for, but that they would be looking for support to do it. So one of the requirements and one of the one under the local government is that council support it to. That's.
okay.
Can I just say something here? Just in regarding that, I was talking to Hami and he spoke about whether it was an area or treaty trust were wanting to come and approach the council regarding the closure of that road. And the research that I was doing, a lot of it said the councils can do it.
Things a bit
So
late.
I think our officers need to be looking at the opportunity for us to be able to close that. We put the sign up, was probably in the new year. Thankfully, it's still there. Hasn't been graffitied or destroyed or pulled down. So that's a good thing. I think it was great that just supported by South Wairarapa District Council probably made a bit of a difference. And certainly we did have a few complaints in regarding both from mana whenua thinking, the council are trying to take over, but in actual fact, discussions were sorted and that was sorted out. And regarding that, they were just supporting the whānau from out there. So yeah, there's probably going to be a request to meet around that from the iwi and also the owners from out there. So Leanne's going to be working on a bit of that. I might do a bit more work on that as well and contacting all the owners from out there and just getting their opinions and also meet with council staff to see what they come up with. Thank you.
Just on that, I went out to there twice, once we went out to look at the site. Second, and when we were there was campers on the other side of the fence. It's quite a, And it says private land there too. And then the second time I went out, I was talking to these boys coming back with their ears through it saying, this is private land. Anyway, there was a lady in a car and she waited till we had left. And then my daughter saw this, but she made a phone call. And the next thing, all these four-wheelers apparently came out. She was waiting for us to leave, so the four-wheelers kept coming through. Yeah, that was before we put the sign up anyway, but.
Yeah, so the behaviour of the community will take a little bit longer to catch up, sign, because, Māori Noa, they've been happy to do whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll take time, but it does work in the end.
Yeah.
When we had it at Warapuana, 5 years of motocross down there, and we put a stop to it, and the culture and what is expected down there has completely changed. So people know to expect to go down there to walk your dog, go for a walk, go for a bike ride, and that people are not keen about the motorbikes anymore.
No,
It does take time. Yeah, it takes time, but it's just that consistency. And I mean, we had to work in with GW council, and just keep pressing them.
got generations.
Yeah, so good, Mahi. Anything else that you would like to point out, Leanne, before we move and second your report?
Just, congratulations on the Māori Awards. I think this is the first formal meeting we've had, so just want to congratulate all the work that was done by the officers.
Yeah.
By yourselves, and quite a momentous moment of having iwi Māori come together with a solid decision. So, it was real whakapotahi practice, thanks to our Facebook warrior here too. Yeah, so I think that was about it. Yeah, can't play. I think I've got everything there. Yeah, and also.
Maintenance.
Yeah, we need to progress the policy as well. I don't know if you know, it was in the Herald today. I think it's a good thing, but maybe not. But it was in the Herald
Time
today.
page there.
Yeah, push for Te Reo Māori. That's about our policy. It's in the Herald as well. Okay, thanks.
All right, can I have a mover to accept Leanne's report?
Aye.
Mayor Martin, a seconder? Okay, Violet. All those in favour? All right, any against? The motion is carried. Thank you for your hard mahi there, Leanne, keeping us the momentum going, even though you're now gone to Massimo.
Thank you.
That's great.
We done here more.
Appointments to committees, is that you, Nikki? And it?
So this is just making sure we dot i's and cross t's and make sure that representation is goes through the correct process. So this is just you guys making nominations of who you want to sit on the council committees. So the terms of reference are included in the report for all the new terms of reference that were agreed to for the new committee structure. So we need an appointment to the Strategy Working Committee and the Community Wellbeing Subcommittee. Okay. Is there any questions about those two committees?
Yeah.
So the Strategy Working Committee is
if you can explain the change. From last year.
So we used to have an infrastructure committee, a community wellbeing and environment. Infrastructure and community wellbeing.
Climate change.
Yeah, climate change.
Yeah.
Climate
change committees and a finance committee and an assurance and risk committee. Those were the committees, plus a few others as well, but they've remained the same. The idea was to reduce the number of committees that we have, just the workload for people sitting around the table, the officers, the regularity with which they were meeting was a bit of a review. So Councillor Gray and Councillor Plummer worked with myself and Nikki on looking at what those committees would look like, and we put forward some options to council at the end of last year. and they agreed to establish a strategy working committee. And the idea is that that committee would do what I would describe as the grunt work of council. So they'd meet reasonably regularly, monthly, I think, and do all the stuff that council didn't necessarily have to do under legislation, and that council meetings become much more efficient, streamlined, and that by the time things get to council, they've been through a clear process where everyone can have a discussion, any bits are ironed out, and that council is left to do the real final sign off of things that they have to do under legislation. So this committee is really the working committee of council.
So just so it's a little bit clearer, sorry. So can you just explain, so the strategy working committee is here now?
Yep.
And what were the committees that now covers?
So that covers the infrastructure, climate change.
Okay, I thought so.
Infrastructure and community and climate change committee.
And environment.
Environment, climate change and
So
environment.
that's,
And the
and the-
finance and assurance and risk committee have been combined into one committee as well.
Okay, oh, that makes sense.
Just to try and
So
create some efficiency.
barriers.
So they're meeting more regularly, fewer committees meeting more regularly.
So we've been asked to put forward nominees.
Yep.
So just 2 of those. No finance, I don't see any finance.
We already have one.
There's already an appointment to the finance committee.
Oh, because
It was carried over from the previous one. We just kept the appointment the same.
okay, so that was Narita and Karen. So
You're in the assurance.
So I think we've done the appointment and the.
So,
So now that there's a combined one, so you only need one of us to represent.
or you have an alternate.
Alternate, yeah.
Yeah, so you can tag team if you still want to stay on that.
Yeah, I think that's how we kind of,
2 heads.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
So then we've got 3 committees, subcommittees that we can participate in.
Yes.
Yeah. So the first question is, are you both want to stay on that joint committee? Or you want to think about it?
Think about
Because we've also got the strategy working committee, which is, like you said, doing the climate change that you're doing and all the grunt work.
I was on infrastructure.
So I was on infrastructure,
Yeah, and I was. on
and your
climate
climate change, yeah.
and then you've got the community wellbeing committee.
And what do they do?
So the community wellbeing subcommittee is a subcommittee of council, and that's unique in that once you get to a subcommittee level, you can have staff sit on that committee as decision makers. So the staff representative is the CE. And that went through council. So that's the wellbeing fund. That's the original Three Waters Wellbeing Fund that we've been to you guys a few times, and now that committee's been established. So it's got representatives from council, representatives from each of the community boards, the Māori Standing Committee, staff, and Ho Māori.
Who's on it from the Māori Standing Committee?
No one yet, because it's
Okay.
a new one specifically for that wellbeing fund. And so it's about as the spend of that money. Me, all of them?
Are you on all of them too, Rebecca?
As a councillor.
I'm not on the insurance and.
Oh, yeah, maybe I'm not on that one.
But my role, I don't just.
As well as having those committees, instead of having the committees covering everything, we have 2 portfolio leads.
Yes.
So what we found with the previous committee structure was that we had the infrastructure and community services committee, which did so much. It covered so many things and was just way too top heavy. And then we had the climate change and environment committee, which was lovely. And it was a very good committee, but it didn't have any power. There was no decision making that came to that committee.
Yeah.
So both of those have been sort of disbanded. The infrastructure part of it is now a portfolio that's the portfolio lead for that is Aidan Ellis.
Yeah.
And it's very wordy, community, environment and climate change portfolio, and I'm the lead for that.
Oh, yeah.
And that's part of why I'm here to come up is just to, come in and say hi and just to, I guess, signal how closely I want to be working in this role.
And so you're on the strategy working committee with that portfolio.
All councillors are on the strategy working.
Yeah.
And the chair is the deputy mayor, Melissa.
Yeah.
The other portfolio lead there is regulatory and planning. So we didn't have a regulatory and planning committee previously that at the beginning of the training, but there had been one previously. And some councillors really missed the work that committee used to do and the visibility that it gave the regulatory work of council. So we're going to have a portfolio lead for that.
Oh, yeah, it's not been appointed yet.
That's Colin, isn't it? Colin Old.
Colin, yeah.
Well, I know it's regulatory. So interest. Go around. Well, would you like?
Yeah, I'm interested in the community wellbeing. One, I've been doing my homework on it for the past since we got the agenda sent out, and I'm really keen on getting, involved in that and being on board that
Ka pai?
I'm happy to stay on finance.
Finance.
And assurance committee. I'm not gonna, but tired at the moment.
That's okay.
Yeah.
You can like pass.
Yeah, I think I will.
Go bounce, goes to the next one.
Yeah, because I'm, yeah.
That's you for two. What's?
Oh, yeah, bounce.
Bounce to your wife.
Well, if I can help, I will, but I don't need to go on to anything. We've got a couple of people showing interest in the two. We've got the strategy one covered, and Tarina spoke of her interest in the community wellbeing. So,
Ka pai. Thank you. Karen?
So we're going to, yes, we are, Karen.
We're going to buddy up. That was right though. Okay, I understand.
I wouldn't mind sticking with our climate team
Yeah.
on the strategy because I really did enjoy that, but I wish we had the power to do things.
Coming.
Yeah.
All right, so it seems like we've got it covered. I mean, I'd like to tautoko Terina, so I'm happy to tag team that space with you, Terina. And I want to get some backup for you too, Violet, in that strategy space. So I note that JD's not here and Leonie's, to leave.
Like, she'd be all right with the early morning Hui's, but because they're normally early in the morning, 9 to 9 o'clock, but after 3 o'clock, she's got to go to work.
Yeah.
So
we'll ask those two and get to see what they want to do. So before I go to a vote, I think it's a consensus vote. Can I have a mover for the appointments to committees reports? Oops. Seconder, Mayor Martin. All those in favour? Any against? That's carried. So are you happy with the endorsement that we just went round the table? You happy with do we have to say who's the lead or can we just say who's both? So we've got.
I think we need to do the appointment and the alternate.
Okay, so I'd like to move for the strategy working committee that's Violet. We can have a mover for Violet, so Dottie, and a seconder, Karen, daughter. We don't have an alternate at this stage for that. Can I have a also move to appoint Tarina? Yeah, for our community. That was Fitu, that's you for the Community Wellbeing Committee. And
as an alternate, or
no, she's going to be the lead.
Yeah.
He said, will he be the alternate?
Yeah, I said thank you because he put his hand up. I thought he was nominate moving.
Yeah,
Are you happy to move that?
Yeah, I was moving actually.
I got it right. And are you happy for me to be the alternate? All right. Okay, a seconder, those two.
On the wall.
All right. Narita, so that's the committee wellbeing, moved by Fatu and seconded by Narita. And finance, we don't have to do because that's already in play.
Except that it doesn't say that we're alternating.
Do you want to be the alternate, Karen? Is that what?
No, Rita's quite clear about this.
We are going to do this together. Are you happy with that, Karen? You're happy with that? Kaupai. All right, so the motion is carried. Any opposed? No. So thank you for accepting that, Mahi. Now we're on to how we're going for time. 7:26, so good.
Bring up a point on, being part of these committees. The agendas and the papers come out on Stella and we still don't have access.
Yeah, so we had a conversation about that, today at, one of our, and, we're working on getting some better systems in place. So one of the systems that we're hoping to implement is Info Council, which is just a better way for. Doesn't quite replace Stella, but we're thinking that we can use OneDrive. No, it's not OneDrive. Who was in the meeting? Nobody here except me. SharePoint. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, SharePoint is to use SharePoint instead of Stella, and we can create secure SharePoint folders, and then you can do read-only documents.
Yeah.
So we're working towards that, and so Paul had a look, and he said it's doable. So we'll stop using Stella at some point, and we'll start using SharePoint, and supported by Info Council. This is other bits and pieces in the background. Yeah.
Thank you. Now we'll move on to 9.3, our Māori, South Wairarapa District Council Māori policy.
1.3 draft, Mark.
Is there anyone that wants to, we'll move this first. I'd like to get a mover to accept report, Violet, and do I have a seconder? Mayor Martin. So those in favour?
Aye.
Any against? Kapai. The motion is carried. So I'll hand the time now over to Nikki to talk us through this.
Everyone.
Hold on.
So a lot of this work came from last year, and you are all probably a lot more familiar with Māori policy and the work that's gone into it. We are in the final stages of reviewing it, so very keen to get some feedback on it. We will look to take it to the strategy working committee probably in March rather than February, just to give council officers a bit more time if there are any updates or edits that need to come on this meeting. There were a couple of questions, and I might need your help with this, that we had in regards to the policy.
So did you say March it goes to council for ratification?
It needs to be adopted.
Okay.
By the strategy working committee in March for adoption. That's the goal and the aim at the stage, depending on the amount of work. Suggestions.
The council, right, cool, thank you.
So I got sent a request, just, I think it probably sits in here, but from my sister. So she just wrote down this note because one of the things that when we're looking at this policy, and so she wanted to bring up two names that tend to be misspelt or that she's worried may, and she just said, so the first one is Ruakaka Pātuna and the Pātuna Chasm. And so this is just what Melanie's saying. She said the legend of Ruakaka Pātuna and the Pātuna Chasm and Sacred Tomo was told to Mel by Alec Taylor, who used to own Grey Cliffs Farm, and Mel's put and Kaumatua Auntie Niniwa Mumro and other old farmers and Māori at the Ruakaka Pātuna Valley growing up. So there was once a giant mama tuna who was responsible for leading the tuna on their journey from Aotearoa to Hawaii, so they could spawn their tamariki and by doing so continue their life cycle and return once again to enrich Aotearoa. As the tuna were getting near to the end of their Aotearoa journey, the mighty mama tuna became caught in a big tomo while navigating her way. As all the tuna gathered behind her, the mighty mama tuna knew that they would surely die there, stuck behind her and unable to journey to Hawaii. The mighty mama tuna said sacred karakia and gathered all her strength and power to her. She flipped her massive tail twice, moving water and earth. She embedded herself within the cave. The flipping twice of her giant tail created what is now called the diversion. This new pathway enabled all the tuna to continue their sacred journey back to Hawaii. The mama tuna's final resting place is what is now called the Pātuna Chasm. This has always been known as Pātuna, the final resting place of the mighty mama tuna and the winding network of tomo, which exists beneath the earth at Rua Koko Pātuna, are her ribs. So, Rua Koko Pātuna, the home pa of the mighty eel tuna who swam koko and flipped her tail twice, rua, causing the earth to rise up on either side, the valley and the cliffs, and the intricate tomo network is created by her many ribs. Her sacrifice allows all tuna to return to Hawaii and spawn forever, so they can continue to one day journey back to Aotearoa and enrich us all again. She created the Ruakaka Pātuna Valley.
But what's this relation to?
Just the name, because there's been some people say that there's different.
Where in the Māori
different spelling?
Policy.
No, but with regards to the Māori policy, so with names in there, this is just one that there seems to be two different ways of spelling, because there's some say that it was because someone saw two cockapoo chasing an eel. And
oh, so this is about the function of naming.
Yeah, and so Mel said that sometimes the legends, you know, you don't want to lose, and so Mel was like, if they could just support the correct spelling of Ruakaka Pātuna, all council documents, and then also with Henekura. So she said Henekura was a very important tupuna wahine of Ngāti Hikuera, as told to me by Whai Teresa Aparo. This area at Henekura was named for Henekura. So please, can we just support the correct spelling, that it's always with an E and not an A? So not Henekura, it's Henekura.
Okay, so
that's just the two that.
And the signs all say Henekura.
Yeah.
That's kind of outside what we're talking about in regard to policy.
Being able to.
It's important because that happens all the time. And yes, Amanda?
I was just wondering, in 6.3, it's got the use of te reo and acknowledging Māori culture. Could we add a sentence in there that would say something along the lines of ensuring that the pūrākau support, behind place names is understood and names are given the right mana or something. Yeah, that just spellings, just to reiterate.
It's like a project with Matara Māori.
Has been in for how long, and it's not even.
We've just got a university to actually research Wellington's town names, you know?
Yeah.
And do the whakapapa on that and reference all of it, because we're going to be using this for our stuff. But maybe we need something like that for Wairarapa. I mean, some of it's already out there anyway, but maybe we need to have something here that you can refer to where there is pūrākau. I mean, there's obviously a couple of pūrākau.
One of our place names has.
But so I mean, Whaitu Mokai, that's a couple of different stories, and we've got to accept all of them because they all feed into
just the spelling, because if it's cockapoo, then that changes it from koko Pātuna.
Well, note that, yes, Leanne.
Pātuna.
It is here, but it could be open to interpretation. So ensuring all place names and te reo Māori names, te reo names, are used correctly through the research of available historical content. And seeking advice and direction from the appropriate person.
Where are you reading from?
64 number.
Yeah, straight after it.
But like we say that that's a policy, but who does that?
Who's checking?
Who will actually do that? for the
We have to
business?
own it and moan about it.
Mayor Martin? Hey, if we can listen just to Mayor Martin.
Yeah, thank you. The reason I seconded the motion was so that I could get my 5 minutes talk in, as a matter of fact. Thank you. I would be unhappy if this went to council in March before it's actually had a thorough chit chat and hooey amongst ourselves. And some of the things that I would want to tease out, well, there's a little bit of editing, but let's ignore that. So the first thing, however, is in what way is this different and better to the Maori policy we've had for a long time? And I think what we need as a committee before we say, yep, this is better than what we've got, is actually some sort of analysis or comparison between what's changed, in other words. We need to have somebody tell us that, I think.
Yeah, so track changes from to the new.
So the next thing is that I was never particularly happy with the previous one because I actually felt it was sort of vague, actually. It didn't actually direct us to go anywhere. And of course, I realise now when I look at this, the previous one, even though it was meant to be reviewed every 3 years, it actually was a pretty old sort of thing by the time I first looked at it seriously. But what we've got here is actually a set of principles. Now, a set of principles are fine, but they actually aren't the same as a policy. Policy is much more about what are we going to do? What is it we want to see? I mean, the most famous example possibly is the nuclear-free policy. You know, once somebody said our policy is we don't have nuclear weapons in New Zealand, that was fairly directive in terms of what else now had to follow. So, for example, here we've got a policy which I thoroughly approve of, that we think we're going to promote the use of te reo. Okay, that's rather vague, I have to say. I mean, what does that mean? What would we actually expect to see there? It seems to me that it would be a much more useful and helpful. I mean, does sort of 1.5 hours lesson a year count? It sort of does in a way. I suspect that's not really what it is that we...
So where is it going to be used, the te reo? So it says the use of te reo and acknowledging Māori culture, but where will that be used?
Well, hopefully it'll be used in a variety of ways. I would expect from the formal to the everyday even.
Really, like we thought at one point, did we actually need a policy? But I remember having a discussion with you about this and you thought that we still need to have a policy.
Yes.
Very few councils have a Māori policy. And it's one of the best policies that is really important for the space user in right now. No other councils have them. They're all hidden. Everything's hidden. I have to dig. So when I started at this council, the best is what you went to Māori policy, found everything. I knew what the council was about. Gave me guidelines. So this Māori policy connects all the dots in that area. I agree with the mayor, it could be more instructional, but that's procedural. I think that there needs to be procedures sitting under a policy. And that's what management does. So
And I suppose the focus of the policy too is to support the incoming ward.
Yeah.
It has to be on that level too, to be able to support the ward.
And that's why it could be.
It is healthy space, yeah.
Yes, well, when we first got this policy back in 5 years ago, it was the terms of reference and it had been, what do you call it? You know, cut and pasted.
Yeah.
It still had, Wairoa Council,
Wairoa Council.
Yeah, it was stated about it, you know, so it was just a cut and paste and they just smashed it together and called it the policy. So, okay, over that look at it, we then sort of spread it out a bit and tried to break it down into areas.
So the question is, what would you have if you didn't have it?
Yeah, well, you'd have nothing,
Everybody else is getting.
but Pip, I'll go to you.
I'm just thinking that, you know, what, like, I look here at the Waihinga Centre and things, and I think here with the 6.2 use of te reo and acknowledging Māori culture, promote its use within the organisation. I think one of the ways that council can actually lead with that is by actually starting to put those signs where the bathrooms and things like that on all of their facilities, on all of council facilities, should actually have te reo as well. And I just, you know, to me, the use of te reo and acknowledging it, I think by saying that we'll promote it within the organisation, well, let's like actually push that further, because I don't mind promoting it to the wider community that we don't have any control over in a way, but we can control what the council is doing with regards to that. So I mean, let's start and actually be the ones that are actually leading by example.
It's already started that, because so all the rubbish bins and the recycling gets it, and
Yeah, they've got both. So yeah, but I'm like, let's push that. Let's keep going with being within the
policy right too. I mean, that's
within the organisation.
So anything
Just
else
promoting it.
officers want to contribute to the
Yes,
station?
a couple of things. So firstly, this is a significant update to the policy that's currently on the website. So track and change is a little bit harder because it is a massive change. It is also been pitched as a strategic document. So just that it sits within guidance, as Leanne said earlier, rather than the procedural side of it, which would fall under it. So just have a think about that. So we have taken it from the position of being a strategic document. And under 5.3 in the report, the work done, analysis and advice, those 3 points are the 3 main aspects that were considered. The work that Leanne and the Māori Standing Committee have done over the last couple of years.
What pages? I think 3.
Sorry, 3 in the report. 0.5.3 in the report. Yeah, so those are the 3 main aspects that have been added into it. And then under 5.4, the development process, those bullet points, inclusion of relevant legislation, inclusion of relevant so Wairaka District Council policies, the removal of nature and scope of activities, which, as Rita mentioned, fell under the Māori Standing Committee's preference. Inclusion of purpose, scope and principles of the policy, which just align up with all the other policies we've got at the moment, and some branding updates. So those are the changes that have happened, and can invite any other feedback that the committee has got.
Well, I agree. It has a purpose of the policy. It has principles of the policy, but there is no policy.
I don't agree with that.
I'm just wondering, when we have our forum, when's our forum scheduled? Do you know?
Forums aren't scheduled.
So we can, on our next formal meetings in April, we could have a forum in between.
Workshop.
To actually, wānanga workshop this. That would be really good, and I would therefore say that when's the March committee?
We would need
Middle of March, I think.
Yeah, early March. We probably need to have papers through by.
So we could
Do it, it goes through straight.
February, we could have our forum meeting then and really thrash this out. Probably the 3rd week in February.
and this be the only thing on our agenda, not is people jumping in because 3 hours, just like.
Is that gonna be a workshop?
Yeah.
A question around 6.5, consultation and engagement. So there's no mention of local marae.
It's just got iwi,
It's all about iwi.
iwi aren't landowners.
6.5 in the policy.
In the policy itself.
You've got nothing there about mana whenua and marae, it's about the iwi.
Unless this policy is specific to South Wairarapa, we acknowledge the hapu are the mana whenua.
That's right.
And we write it in that of that starts. Where decision makers are huffing. Yes.
Can I say something here? We've had this document for a little time now, and all of these should have been done. The councils have already pushed it back another month, and then we're going to end up dragging it out another month if we have a forum in February and we don't come to any conclusion around that or anything. I don't get your comment around no policy. There's no policy, Martin. I thought that this was a policy, and like Nikki has said, it's an upgrade of our existing policy. A lot. Like I've looked at the old one and it's a lot more. There might be a few more tweaks required, but let's not muck around on this. And in this government environment that we're going through, the whole thing might be right. We might find a whole lot of different, by March, we're going to find a whole lot of different legislation possibly come out that's going to create this, and this will need to be changed again. I think
Thank you, Fitu. This is scheduled. So, I mean, and this has been a development over time because we do want to put our best foot forward. And so I don't think, we are coming to the end where we have to finalise this to submit that to the council in March. And so I think, we're on point in regard to putting focus and finalising it.
Yeah.
And yes, we've all looked at the old one and contributed to this one, but it's not in a ready state. So I still think it's valuable to have the wānanga together to finalise it. So
I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with that, but I just feel that there's a lot of work going into this. We need to move on it.
Hapai. Well, I'm going to
Kia ora, Andrew, just through you here, just a comment on timeline, and noting some of what Fitu has said. We've got the long-term plan consultation document, which is under development at the moment. And part of the next stage of that consultation document is to be audited by the auditors before it becomes a public document and we go out for formal consultation in April. The auditors look for back documents. They look at what structures and processes and stuff you have in place that kind of support your long-term plan consultation. And there's legislative requirements for us to ensure that we have something in this space. So that will be really good if we can meet that kind of timeline as well. Just noting that otherwise we're looking at our current policy as the one that will be held up by the auditors.
Yeah. So is the timeline aligned?
With February?
We can probably make it work. We can say to that, I'm just really conscious if we push past that, we'll be getting really tight, and that we probably wouldn't be able to say to the auditors, we've got this in development.
Oh, well, we'll keep to the timeline.
Yeah.
That's all,
Cool.
That's what we'll do.
And I support what Narita said as well about that. I think this is what we concentrate on, nothing else.
Wouldn't mind the timeline though. For our forum.
Yep.
Just like we've done, in the past. That's really helpful where we can tick off the process as you go through it for the long-term plan.
Yep.
Leanne?
In answer to the question around 6.5, you read it, it's around the statutory requirements. So, couple of environments is in the milestone. That parts around our legal councils and legal obligations, and the resource management system statutory. That's what that means.
Okay. Thank you.
Doesn't exclude Hope and Mariah because they sit on the representation on the Māori Standing Committee. Would you like the 20th of February or the 13th?
20th.
Maybe.
Kapai. So we'll move on. Because we're moving on to 9.4. Meeting schedule of ordinary meetings. We now move on to item 9.4, the 2024 meeting schedule of ordinary meetings. Is that right?
Yep.
Apologies,
it is a mouthful.
Do I have a mover to receive our meeting schedule? Violet, thank you. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Tarina. All in favour, please raise your hand. Any opposed?
So these are.
Motion carried. Oh, here we go. Does anyone want to have any questions around that? Because it's got you talking to it.
It does, yep. So the one thing I've added in that might be a bit unusual is I've actually added a date in for 2025. When I had a look at the schedules as they come out through council, I realised that when council makes the decision for the new schedule is after the last meeting that all the committees have. And so I'm proposing a cheeky date for the first meeting where you might have it in the year, so that at the end of the year, we don't have to have a rushed agenda saying that we have to have another meeting, we have to do all the official process, that we've already got it in there and it's parked, and if we want to use it, we can, but if we don't need to use it, we don't have to. Just saving us a bit of work at the end of the year. A bit cheeky, but
Oh, well, that's all good, because we can have a forum meeting for our last meeting and tie that up with our year thing.
Yeah.
So,
So we've gone from every other month to formal hui to every 3 months.
no, to four hui and,
Yeah, for hui.
Yeah.
so this January, and then you've got
Oh, yeah.
April, July, October.
Oh, I thought we were every other month. We were.
No, I pushed it out
So where do we fit forums?
in between.
Yeah.
Either side of these are just the formal ones. And we just put in the forums in between months.
They're not notifiable meetings, so we don't, publicly notify them in the same way. You can choose dates.
So we can put some dates in our schedule that Robin can send out to us. And
for the forums, you guys get to decide, just let me know when you want them.
yeah,
Yeah.
so the next one is February the 20th. We were going to talk about the Māori policy. That's the first one. And we can also maybe look at when we want the next ones. But it'll just be in between. So the next one would be in between, maybe like early June, and then probably September maybe, and then we might want one in November or not. But we'll just put that out, and we can talk about that.
Around AGM time.
Meeting for the LTP, anything you want to put before the LTP, just note.
Okay, so we'll get that with the schedule that you'll provide.
Yeah.
And then we'll be able to fit that in.
Yeah.
Piece of work. Ka pai.
That's on the floor.
Action items report, moving on. Now, do I have a mover to accept our action item report?
To accept all these other bits for the delegate.
Oh, we It does seem like it's every 3 months instead of every 2 months, right? Because it does seem really long in between every meeting.
Hang on.
We'll have four.
It's not decision making.
Oh. Yep.
Sorry, Robin's got some extra things that she wants to read out.
Right, so sorry about that, I missed it off the thing. So the first one is to adopt the meeting schedule. So we've received the meeting schedule, now need to adopt the meeting schedule and then delegate the chief executive the office of the authority to alter the schedule of already meetings following consultation with the chair. So if we need to have an extraordinary meeting for any reason under consultation, schedule that. Apologies, we need to do seconds and moves and seconds for those.
Okay, who would like to move that? I'll move it, Karen, thank you. Seconder? Tarina. All in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Thank you. Can we move on now?
Yep.
Halfway. And our action item report, do I have a mover to receive this report? Narita, thank you. Seconder? I'd like you.
Oh, income expenses first.
I'll go back to that.
Where is it?
All those in favour, please raise your hands. Any against? The motion is carried now. Do you want to just talk through the actions?
Yep.
So we're at 9.6, the actions, and I need to go back to 9.5 after this.
Okay, so open at the moment is following the strategy, noho, the committee will meet with trustees and stakeholders at each one. I discuss the meetings. Apology, that's number 189. So that was something for the Māori Standing Committee to take action on. It says it's still open. So it was held on the 28th of September and the 6th of October 2022. That's quite an old.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd propose that we close that.
Leave a kick in for that.
We have our work program and we, the big thing is really the long-term plan is what we'll want to consult on.
So the 358, 359. Oh, so you've all got the first section of that, so I won't read it out. So the last action of that was in March 23, so that those two action items are combined.
And we've got that in play, haven't we, this one? You're with Adam, isn't that the?
No, it's not the same thing.
Oh,
358, 359.
Yeah, the second one.
358, 359.
Oh, sorry, the restorative.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's got it. It's a new thing now. It's not called restorative.
Oh, yeah.
So is that still open as far as?
No.
Close that.
Is that the one that?
It didn't really get to know me.
I believe that was one possibly that Andrea, you actually raised right at the start because you were wanting more information from them.
Yeah.
Because of the costings that they were putting, so you were hoping for a hui at that stage, but it hasn't happened. So that was,
Around the water
yeah.
is a big take.
And just
Well, that comes
price
along
and stuff that they were coming, that they had and about how they were,
Their information, eh?
how they were sticking to. That was, yeah, I'm pretty sure that,
I think that.
I mean, I'm hoping I'm reminding you because I can't quite remember exactly what you said.
Stay open. We need to find out.
I'm just asking the mayor if that will come up as part of our consultation for the long-term plan.
Which it will.
Yeah, so around water issues or anything to do with water. So I propose that go into the that kōrero, that action actually goes into the long-term plan consultation. With whānau hapu, iwi.
Yeah.
We can just reword that. We'll keep it on there so that we make sure that that's a key point that we're consulting on through that process. All right,
Got that?
yeah.
548.
Oh, yeah, Māori Standing Committee.
So this is clarification and we'd still like this one from Janice. I think around that, isn't that around the clarification around
Budget.
of the budget I'm looking at?
Is it still not changed?
So can we request that
No.
down next?
Is this regarding this,
No, it was actual whole budget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Money that was promised that wasn't put in, those kind of actions, but we want to start afresh to be very clear on, you know, like what our budget is, what can we use it for so that it gets spent instead of this ongoing accrual of funds so that we can build that into our work program. That's what I'd like to see. I'm not sure what it is. What we could, you know, like we need to have a discussion around then how do we get resources allocated to our work program through the
Council.
long-term planning process. Can we have a session with Janice on that since I know she's numbers lady? Is that all good? So we can specifically ask to do that with her. The next one.
147, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's still going, isn't it? That's just the one. Yeah.
So that's in, yeah, okay.
Yeah, just override.
Yep, so that's Mātakitaki, Akupe, that all ties up with that. So that is in progress. Okay. 148, what's this one about protecting sites? Well, that's in progress.
Paper road,
Yeah,
We
join them together, yeah.
yeah.
They're both the same.
Join those 147, 143 together. Is that it?
148.
48.
Right,
Yeah, I don't think it was meant to be paper trail. I'm pretty sure that first one was meant to say paper road as well, not paper trail.
paper road, yeah. 149 about the freedom camping bylaw to work to include education on this site.
Yeah, that's all happening.
That's happening.
Yeah. It's really good work, and that's part of why we've got the sign on the gate.
That's all part of the
So should
paper
we
trail,
put that together as well?
Yeah, so that should be another.
Put that together.
Yeah.
Put that in there and combine that one. Because 153. Is it still going? What's the 3 proposed names at Bidwell's Crossing?
It ran away.
Yeah, I think
It
they
ran away.
went to a backyard name.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well,
Good.
we'll close that then. Close that action there.
We've already got them on in it.
159, South Wairarapa to provide a letter of support to marae interest in being an emergency response shelter. Did that happen?
That's in progress.
So that's in
That's Nigel.
Okay.
It's all happening.
And 162, that's from a position, a representative of regional members in the next to be adopted. That's closed.
That was the Māori ward.
Yeah.
It's closed.
It's nice to hear that word now.
Now we have to have a cordial about who's going to stand. 145, Māori Standing to be included in the wider long-term plan, including engagement.
So there's a session tomorrow that you've been invited to, and you've been sent the draft consultation document. So if anyone wants to come tomorrow 9 till 2, that's
Tomorrow, Wednesday.
Yeah.
Looking at that consultation document.
Okay.
Yeah.
That, anyone able 9 till 2 or in between, you can join online. Jump in.
Yeah, to pop down.
Is that doable online?
We're leaving the area.
Is that doable online as well?
I can. Yes, please.
Online.
I don't have to drive down there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, no problem.
155, council offers to reach out to Māori Standing Committee around the youth role and youth strategy. Now, we're still work in progress in that. Still trying to recruit, aren't we? To a youth kind of focus coordinator.
That one.
The council is. The last one, 156, council officers to see if Māori Standing Committee can offer kiwi hau to Wairarapa whānau.
Trust.
I think that came out of one of your grant conversations. I haven't followed up on that yet. We'll much.
Was that for yes?
Yes, Nikki?
No, it's, I just need to do some further digging. It's potentially a bit more complicated than I had hoped, so I just need to work with Pedro around that.
Okay, cheers, Nikki. So we're wanting to have a free facility that whānau can access.
That's the whānau trust, that was the group.
Oh, whānau.
That was the youth.
How about all of us?
That's the youth.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, that was the youth.
The funding. Young ones, remember that came from Featherston? Yeah.
Are they still around?
Yeah, that was the young,
That's Stevens.
hang on, they were in our minutes. I can't remember what their exact name is, but.
Karen is.
Yes, they did.
Oh, wait, on Karen?
They had applied for funding
Yes.
and it didn't quite fit the criteria.
That's right.
So what we decided was, as a compromise, to
Try
to offer them somewhere to meet that.
That they
Because
didn't
one
have
of
to use their funding.
One of their biggest expenses was a venue.
Yes.
So the idea was maybe council could offer kiwi hau.
Stadium,
Oh, can we get that done?
Yeah, Nikki's still looking at it.
because they could have
Just saying.
Because that's been hanging around for.
applied for the funding, so the offer of the hall.
When Taita Mokai or Tawera first started out, the council allowed us to use one of the rooms in the Kiwi Hall at no expense. You remember that?
Okay, so there's a precedent.
In the past.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was Talia Steedman and Tyzek Walker.
Benefiting, yes, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's Jodie's boy,
Okay,
Jodie and Anthony's.
moving on to income and expenditure report. We'll go back to that and then we can finish after that. Can I get someone to move the income and expenditure report, please? Thank you, Violet. Seconder. Katerina, all in favour?
Aye.
Please raise your hand. Any against? The motion is carried. Are there any questions around the income and expenditure report?
I just think it is a good idea that we try and get with Janice on this.
Yeah.
And there's- But I mean, I can remember when funding was awarded to us, and I just.
Yeah.
Reflected here.
Yeah.
So, like, what do we actually?
That's I've raised it at council level. I actually brought that up, didn't I, Amanda? That has been raised and that it's just needs to be sorted out and it should have been in there, like for this past year.
The funding round is up now.
So, cool. When do the budgets get? Annual budgets, are they? Yeah, over the next 3 years, right? Well, but,
It was in the annual
what's
plan.
the allocation? But each,
That's why I'm meetings tomorrow, because it's like, what is the budgets have all been drafted. And, the query tomorrow is just to look at, have we got the consultation questions right? And, any talking.
so.
But that's not with regards to what they're talking about. They're talking about the putia that was meant to come each year, the same as what community boards get. That was what for the Māori Standing Committee. That's what is.
I'll have a look. My understanding.
It hasn't changed.
And that it was, but we talked about that and that wasn't for the long-term plan. That was the annual plan last, so we brought that up. We brought that up for the annual plan that it was meant to have already been in there and we were fixing that.
I think it got fixed, but I'll double check.
I thought it got,
Yeah, no, it was meant to all be fixed. Meant to all be fixed because it was meant to be being.
for Janice?
I recommend it. I think you find Janice is very clear, does the right sort of research background and
2020.
very, it's very comforting to work with somebody who's got that degree of clarity and focus.
Yeah, knowledge. Okay, so we'll,
Perfect.
look, is that a new reset for us?
Yeah.
So.
2020.
Does it have to go on that action?
Actions report, that on our actions report. Thank you.
Doing actions?
Yeah. All right. Well, we're over 8 o'clock, so we need to finish with our karakia whakamuhia. Unuhia, ki te uru tapu nui, kia wātia, kia māma, te nākau, te tinana, te wairua i te arataka tū, puiara e rongo, whakairia ake ki ronga, tūturu maua kia tina, hui e, tai e. Kia ora whatu.
Picture.
Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Mā te wā.
I hope you got dinner ready.
I think my daughter's cooking it. I'm up the line, I'm afraid.
Is it?